Somewhere in a data center right now, a company you have never heard of is renting out a cluster of computer chips for over $1 billion a month. Not to sell you a product. To train the next AI model. Because here is the secret nobody tells you. 5 companies decide if artificial intelligence exists at all. You would think the AI race is OpenAI versus Google versus Anthropic. Wrong question. None of those labs actually own the machines their models run on. OpenAI trains on rented chips. Anthropic rents from 2 different landlords at once. Even xAI, built by one of the richest men alive, rents time on somebody else's supercomputer. The real power is not the lab that writes the AI, it is whoever owns the warehouse full of chips underneath it. And once you start looking at who owns the warehouses instead of who writes the software, the whole map of the AI industry changes. Company number 1, Nvidia. Every major AI model, GPT, Gemini, Claude, Grok, trains on chips built by one company. Nvidia controls roughly 81% of the AI data center chip market. Not a third, not half, 81%. Analysts expect Nvidia to hold 70 to 75% even by 2030. If Nvidia decided tomorrow who gets chips first, it could decide who wins the AI race. Company number 2, Microsoft. Microsoft does not just invest in OpenAI, it owns the building OpenAI trains inside. Microsoft holds one of the single largest stockpiles of Nvidia chips on the planet, close to 500,000 high-end accelerators. OpenAI assembled its compute mostly by renting from Microsoft's Azure cloud. Translation: the company everyone credits with inventing modern AI chatbots does not own the machine that runs them. Microsoft does. Company number 3, Google. While everyone was watching the chatbot race, Google quietly built its own chips called TPUs and stacked roughly 25% of the entire world's AI computing power. That is more raw compute than OpenAI, Anthropic, and Elon Musk's xAI combined. Google does not need to win the headlines. It already owns more of the engine room than anyone else. Company number 4, Amazon. Amazon built its own AI chip called Trainium, and it is the landlord behind Anthropic, the company that makes Claude. Amazon has poured tens of billions of dollars directly into Anthropic, making itself both an investor and a landlord at once. Anthropic rents computing power from both Amazon and Google at the same time, because no single AI lab can afford to own enough machines by itself anymore. Amazon is planning to spend $200 billion this year alone, just building more of them. Mostly inside Amazon Web Services, data centers most people have never heard of. Company number 5, Meta. Facebook's parent company is spending up to $135 billion this year building AI data centers, and it is now renting out the extra capacity like a landlord. Anthropic pays Meta $1.25 billion a month for compute. Google pays Meta $920 million a month. The social media company became a compute broker. Here is where it gets strange. Anthropic pays xAI, a direct competitor, $1.25 billion a month just to use its supercomputer, Colossus, in Memphis, Tennessee. A neutral middleman called CoreWeave now has a contract backlog worth $66.8 billion, just renting out chips nobody else owns enough of. Microsoft itself is one of CoreWeave's biggest customers, renting extra capacity on top of everything it already owns. The AI companies you argue about online, the ones you compare in headlines like they are rival nations, are behind the scenes all paying rent to each other, sometimes to their own harshest competitors. So forget the leaderboard of chatbots. The real hierarchy of AI power looks like this. Nvidia builds the chips. Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Meta buy or build the data centers those chips sit in and fight each other constantly to secure the next shipment before their rivals do. Everyone else, OpenAI, Anthropic, xAI, every startup you have heard of rents time on somebody else's machine, on somebody else's terms, at whatever price the landlord sets. The AI labs write the software. 5 companies own the electricity, the buildings, and the silicon underneath it. Miss a payment or fall out of favor, and the model simply stops training. That means if these 5 companies ever decided to slow down, raise prices, or cut someone off, entire AI labs could go dark overnight, no servers, no training runs, no product. It is not just a business story anymore either. A growing share of this compute race is not happening between countries. It is happening inside 5 American boardrooms. Together, 4 of these 5 companies plan to spend $725 billion in 2026 alone chasing more compute. That is more than the yearly economic output of most countries on Earth, more than the gross domestic product of nations with tens of millions of people, spent in a single year by 4 companies on warehouses full of chips. Spent by a handful of companies on machines to control a technology none of us fully understand yet, and to make sure that whoever needs that technology next has nowhere else to go but through them. So next time someone asks who is winning the AI race, do not name a chatbot. Name the company that owns the warehouse. Nvidia, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Meta, 5 companies, 1 industry, and everyone else is just renting the room. Which one worries you the most? Tell me in the comments.